All right, Bass Fishing Live Thursday night. This is probably what, our eighth episode,
Eighth
maybe?
or ninth show.
Yeah. So
Somewhere
we
around
have
there.
a special guest. This is tonight's guest, and we'll give people time to get on, but a lot of people watch the replay. Is a fellow Kentuckian. We always love having Kentuckians on. Um, we've got a handful of Kentucky pros, and I think Bradley here may be the I'm not going to say best. I don't want to do the others that way, but as far as achievement over the last year, Bradley, you've really had a good year, man.
I appreciate that. Just bless.
Yeah.
Appreciate that though.
So, but we do love Josh and I are Kentuckians. I live in Frankfort. He lives in Western Kentucky. Both from the mountains in Eastern Kentucky, so you can probably tell that when you hear us talk. But yeah, man, love having Kentucky is on. Where are you at right now, Bradley?
So I'm in, well, technically West Monroe, Louisiana. I'm actually staying at a little Airbnb, a little ways out of that, but West Monroe, Louisiana.
Josh, what do you think of you here, West Monroe, Louisiana?
I was about to bring it up. The Duck Boys, man.
Duck Dynasty, yeah.
The Duck Boys.
I think they put it on the map down there.
Yeah, I've not drove. I guess you can drive past kind of where they did the TV show, but I've not done that yet. But every time I've been here, this makes the second time I've been here, obviously, and just always so busy you don't think about it when you're down here. But
Yeah,
that's West Monroe is known for sure.
yeah. I was when we were at the Classic. Justin Martin was there, and he was talking about how they never pay. I guess West Monroe's a small town. I don't know. Where I don't know the geography down there, but he's like, man, we always fly first class, but we never pay for it. It's just nobody in West Monroe ever flies. He said, so we just pay for coach, and they upgrade us to first class. Everybody thinks it's because we're on TV, but really we're cheap. So I thought that's funny. So we got some guys on here: Eddie Endicott, WO, some bass fishermen. Eddie, how's things out at where's Eddie's tournament trail? I forget. Is it Barron River?
I think Barron.
Oh, yeah. Do you know? Is it Barron? Okay, Bradley knows there. So, Bradley, you probably have some people on here you might know. They'll definitely know you. But we got Bradley for about 25 minutes tonight. He's gearing up for a big tournament down there. A tournament that he won on this lake. It's a little different format, I think, this time around, but he won it last year. That was your first Bass Pro Tour win. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And so, man, I know that when winning one is hard. Like, there's a lot of anglers that go a long time and never win one of those events. What's the relief like after that? You've been close before. What's that relief the next, once that final buzzer sounds and the time's up and you get to turn around, look at the camera, and you're just like, oh, that has to be a huge moment.
So, obviously most people on here are bass, and you guys are bass fishermen. You understand bass fishing is a game of failure. I mean,
oh yeah,
most often we go out and we quote unquote fail. In my book, if you get a top 10 in a tournament, you pretty much have, I would consider that a win. But
heck yeah,
people win. I don't care if you're fishing a club tournament at home, if you're fishing a tournament on Harrington, a Tuesday nighter, or if you're fishing at this level. To win, everything has to go right. And it is so competitive at this level. And I've had some good tournaments. I've been close before. I feel like I've been fishing, where I was capable of winning for several years now, and just see one or two little things fall apart right before it all comes together. So when you finally get to that position where everything does come together,
yeah,
it's just like you want to be super excited, but it's almost just like this weight gets lifted off your shoulder. It's not that I was worried about ever winning. I knew it would come in due time, but it's just like this monkey just gets off the back.
Yeah.
It's a sigh of relief. But for everything to go right, at the right time, it's just a cool feeling. It's a cool experience. And then what was neat about it, if anybody watched last year, stage one, of course we fished 3 different lakes, which made it unique. But
right.
Last day was on Bussey break, and to win flipping. You can't always compete flipping. It just depends on the body of water. You can't always do it. But to compete in flipping, if I could have drawn it up, that's how I would have drawn it up. So it was just super cool, super thankful, and hopefully we can get that opportunity again this week.
Absolutely. Hey, I told somebody after you won, I said, listen, that guy catches them on Harrington. If you catch them on Harrington, you can catch them anywhere.
Yeah. Man, good lake. It gets a bad rap, but dude, Harrington is full of it's just a tricky place to fish.
Yeah. it's something, man. If you got to be careful going through Harrington, all the debris and usually you go bass fishing there though. You got a great population of hybrids, man. You hook into those all the time there. So
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the good eating too. Hybrids and striper, man. That's probably my favorite fish to eat by far.
I'd have to disagree. I'd have to say crappie, walleye, but
okay.
Yeah.
Fishermen, so I don't really eat fish that much anyway.
Yeah, well, now Josh and I, we grew up. Our uncle is a striper guide at Norris.
Yeah,
and so we've had our fair share of striper. So I think it's just that's what we always ate growing up.
I got you.
Oh,
Yeah, when we go over there, gosh, it's so much fun. Chuck says, let's shout out Chuck's boy here. Placed 78th out of over 200 boats on Chickamauga last weekend. A couple young boys learned to be better anglers. Hey, good for them, Chuck. Bergen High School, too. I mean, they're probably the only two kids that go to Bergen. I mean, that's a tiny, tiny school. Josh, you don't even know where Bergen is, do you?
I don't.
Yeah. It's near Harrington, isn't it?
Those boys know how
not too far.
Pretty much on Harrington. Those boys know how to fish.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Chickamauga is one of those lakes, too, man. You go down there and you think, oh, I can catch a 10-pounder, and you go home heartbroken. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah, Chick gets a lot of pressure. It's a wonderful fishery and a great place to go, but it just gets a lot of pressure, and it's not a super big lake. I mean, it's a big lake, but those places that we're seeing that dynamic with fishing now is that those places that are super popular, your Chick, your Gunnersville, those type places, you have to approach those places differently than you do a lot of other places.
Yeah.
That young generation that's coming up, they're dealing with that more than I even did when I first started. Was bass fishing super popular, which is awesome for me, sponsors, everybody else, but it brings a new level into how we figure these bodies of water out.
Yeah, one thing we talk about all the time, because we do a live show on Tuesdays. It's we've done it for over 2 years, so I guess we've done over 100 shows on Tuesday nights. Yeah. And we split this one off just because we wanted to focus just on bass fishing. And the one thing we've always said is, the future of hunting, we're kind of worried about because a lot of kids don't do it. But, man, the future of bass fishing is bright.
Yeah.
There are kids that, you guys, you're pro anglers. I know you guys don't feel this way, but you guys are like pro athletes to these guys. You're role models to them. They're wearing your jerseys and wanting your autographs. And so bass fishing has a great future. It's as popular as it's ever been, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I love to hunt as much as I do fish, and I sometimes I worry about the hunting industry. It's a totally different animal. I worry, obviously that's not an unlimited resource, and sometimes I'm frustrated with how we manage those things. But fishing, on the other hand, is awesome. The one thing we have to, me, I'm involved in high school fishing as much as I can, on tournament and all that stuff. The only thing we have to really manage is we're not getting any new bodies of water. So as the sport grows, it's awesome. We want more people fishing.
Yep.
We figure out a way to take care of these fish better, and without a doubt, you can harm a fishery. We saw that with Kentucky Lake. Asian carp got blamed for that, really, but I think the Asian carp were just a straw that broke the camel's back with Kentucky Lake, and more or less that tournament pressure and a few other things, a couple bad spawns. I think with all the boats on the water today, we just have to we have to take a step back and just make sure we're doing what we need to as anglers to take care of these fish, and then everybody gets a chance to go fishing and enjoy this wonderful sport. But don't keep that in mind, we could be in trouble.
Yeah, I live about 45 minutes from Kentucky. Well, maybe about an hour, about 45 minutes from Barkley. And that's a good point. I've heard a lot of people say, they blame the Asian carp, but tournament pressure and just fishing pressure in general, the lake was so hot back in, I don't know,
5 years ago.
Yeah. In the past, well, everybody was running a tournament, 7 days out of the week. And, I know both of those lakes are huge, but that adds up over time.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example of how I know that it's worse on those bodies of water where the offshore bite's good.
Yeah.
Think about it. When tournaments started to get really, really popular, our electronics were getting really good, and it got super easy for everybody to be able to pull out there and catch fish, which is awesome. Lawrence and some of these companies made it super easy. That's really cool. But the tournament pressure was ramping up. And when did everybody want to go to Kentucky Lake? They wanted to go May, June, July, all those times when those really out there.
Yeah.
Well, getting caught 20 feet of water and then getting, rode around, bumped around. It's really hard for them to survive. Same goes we just came stage 2, we fished on Douglas Lake. Douglas was one of the best deep lakes in the country. And it's actually, they've had to take a step back. And in the summertime there, they imposed a really strict size limit because all the big ones are disappearing. And what's happening there, most of those big ones that were getting caught were deep fish. And that was when everybody wanted to fish there. Well, you can't catch a 6-pounder out of 35, 40 foot of water, pull it up and take it to a weigh-in and do that multiple times in a year to the same fish and expect that fish to live.
Right.
So, it just shows that especially those bodies of water that are deep water fisheries, they're susceptible to what we're talking about. And that's just where you got to know, number one, you got to know how to take care of your fish, have a good live well, and just, it doesn't pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Big difference in the road.
I think that's a great point. I'm proud to say, Bradley, that I'm doing my part because I can't catch a fish deeper than 8 feet. So, I'm proud of that.
Jason Lambert, I talked to him last year, the year before, and I mean, everybody knows he's a hammer on Kentucky Lake, and he
ended a guy's career there, didn't he?
Yeah, he pretty much did, pretty much. But he kind of said about the live well thing too was, listen, if you can't go get a bag of ice and some G juice or something and take care of your fish, you have no business being out there anyways.
Yep.
So it's 100% true. I mean, there's just so many factors that play into managing a fishery, and it's our part just as much. I know a lot of people like to blame Fish and Wildlife or whoever because they're not doing their part, but anglers have to do their part too.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Eddie says, Bradley, what in the heck is he supposed to do to come close winning that NTBA Classic on Cumberland in October? I guess Eddie's struggling there in the fall.
Man, October on Cumberland can be super tough. So they'll either be, you can find some fish that are kind of out schooling, spoon, drop shot,
take your notes, Eddie.
Demiki type stuff. I mean, if you can find fish that are doing that, that's here today, gone tomorrow stuff, that could be really good. I do look at marinas. If it's super tough and you can get by with spotted bass, I really look into marinas. But that time of year for me, it's either I run 10 miles of bank with the top water or fish as shallow as I can fish and catch resident largemouth. I mean, that's just, if you're talking early October, man, that is a extremely tough time of the year. Yeah. Talking later October, it gets a little better depending on our weather, but you really have to strategize and kind of figure out what you want to target and just go after it.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, let's jump in. We got about 15 minutes left here. Let's jump into this tournament. Man, a great show. And it was fun for us to watch. Josh and I are bass fishing nerds, so we're actually the guys that we actually watch it. Some people are like, I don't know how you can watch it. We love watching it. So it was fun.
I was watching Bassmaster today as I was at work.
And Matt Robertson. Yeah, another Kentucky guy.
You're like, how are you watching that? And I'm like, how are you not?
Right, yeah. There you go. So it was fun to watch you last year. And we were all pulling for you. You caught a huge fish, about a 9-pounder down there. And I know Randy Howe had back-to-back, massive fish down there. But it wasn't a heavy hitters event, was it? It was just a regular event last year, correct?
The tour event, yeah.
Yeah. So this week, though, if you catch a 9-pounder, I mean, you could be bringing home some serious cash. Kind of tell us about that format a little bit and how, 30 anglers, a great fishery. I mean, that's I'm sure you're excited about that.
Yeah, so heavy hitters is something that MLF came up with a few years ago, and it basically all year last year at every event, our biggest fish from the event, whether you fish 2 days in the event or you fish the entire event, if your big fish is 4.5 pounds, that's your big fish from that event, and it goes into your tally for heavy hitters. So we had 7 regular season events last year, so you get 7 slots, and the top 30 in the field, they get a fish from each event.
Right.
Qualify for heavy hitters.
Yeah. You finished 6th in that. So you did excellent.
I caught almost a 9 here and then an 11-11 at Lake Fork. So that really helped me out. But it's a cool event. It's something that, you can't really super focus on trying to qualify for, but what's neat about the whole deal is it's kind of like a regular tournament where we have Group A, Group B, knockout round, championship round.
Right.
They're involved in winning the tournament. That's awesome. But the money, what's neat about it, Group A, big bass over the first 2 days is $25,000. Group B, big bass over the first 2 days is $25,000. And then if you make it to the knockout round and you catch big bass in the knockout round itself, you get $50,000.
Yep.
And then the championship round, big bass is $100,000.
Yeah.
So you talk about one bite can really make a bunch of money, and it's the TV ratings on this tournament have been just crazy good. That's why MLS
Sure.
and they keep pushing it, because
Yeah.
they also do what they're doing this week. They take us to fisheries where we got a 30-man field. They're not taking us to a giant fishery. They're taking us to a place where we normally couldn't fish a normal size field, and they're taking us to this week we're going to Caney Creek and Bussey Break.
Right.
Caney, I mean, they catch teeners out of it every year, and Bussey Break is just. They told us in the meeting tonight that since January 1, they said 50 over 10 pounds have been caught out of Bussey. That's a 2,200.
Nice.
It's pretty ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, just the amount of fish that are getting caught. So that's what makes it neat. You take some of the best anglers in the world, put them together, give them a chance to, and you see weird strategies play out. I mean, if I make it to the knockout round and I'm going down a bank at Caney this week and I see an 11-pounder, I might quit fishing for everything else to even try to make it around. And just might try to catch that big fish, catch 50,000. So it's just a really cool event. Always thankful when you make it, because last year we were at Lake Palestine, and in Group A, first day I catch a fish on a floating worm and $25,000 off one bite.
Yeah, that's great. I think. Correct me if I think Jordan Lee won one last year, where he had the big bass and he won it, so it's like $150,000.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that driving down here. I was thinking, if you got big bass in your group, and then you got big bass in knockout round, and then big bass and won the tournament, you can win like $275,000.
Yeah.
For a 30-man field. It's just a ton of money.
Somebody's going to do that eventually too.
Oh yeah, well, especially if we were to go to a place maybe that was a little tougher, and somebody get them really dialed in.
Yeah.
That's going to be a happy wife, I tell you that.
For me, Bradley, if I go fishing somewhere and I know I've not caught fish in a while, I've been having it rough, there's always like that one lake that I go to, and I know for sure I can catch fish. So for you, going off of your win last year down here, how are you feeling leading up to fishing next week on Monday?
I feel good about it. So the challenge is getting back to Bussey. I really want that opportunity. It's almost like, it's exciting to think about the opportunity to go back to Bussey Break.
Yeah.
Our championship rounds on Bussey. So I got to get past 20 guys to get there. I don't know if I can win again on Bussey. I feel like I'll have a puncher's chance, just because the lake's not super big, and I feel like I kind of understand what's going on there.
Yeah.
But the whole deal is getting through Caney. Caney's a phenomenal fishery, giants in it, but it's not a whole lot bigger than Bussey.
Yeah.
But it gets pressure, a lot of pressure, and it's gotten pressure for years. So it's going to be a tricky one. It's going to be trying to figure out what stage the fish are in and trying to survive the qualifying rounds and knockout rounds and getting the Bussey Break. But that's all I'm focused on, just trying to get there. If I can get there, I feel like I'm going to be in the game and maybe know where some of those big ones live.
Have that shot.
Yeah, and this year it's a totally different time of the year too. So is that? I know it's pretty south. The weather's not crazy different. Is that going to play a huge role in it and how you approach it?
We were pretty much completely pre-spawn last time we were here. This time, I would guess, maybe 50-50 spawn on or 25% spawn, 75% post spawn. I don't know. I just kind of have to get on the water and look, but I definitely expect to be some fish still spawning, but that fry garter, shad spawn, some of those early fish showing up out on the points and first little drop-offs and stuff. So that's Caney Creek. Bussey really doesn't have a ton of that stuff. Bussey's pretty much just a bunch of flooded brush.
Yeah.
So it'll, it's going to be flipping and that type of stuff there. But Caney's the tricky one. We got to get through there, and it's going to take a lot of weight there too. There's some big ones in it.
Hey, we got two good questions here. Chuck says, "How do you practice differently for a heavy hitters tournament versus a regular tour event, or do you at all? Do you change anything?
I don't practice a ton different. I mean, for me, it's when you go to these different bodies of water everywhere, no matter where you go. Some people may tell you, "Hey, I'm trying to go out and get big bites." Yeah, that's fine, but I make a living catching. My whole everywhere I go in the world is just figure out how to get a bite. And if I'm getting bites, I feel comfortable about getting bites. Then I'll try to figure out a way to get bigger fish. But for me, it all starts with figuring out how to get bit, and then after that, I try to dial it.
Yeah, that kind of leads to the next one. Eddie said, "Are you going to go back to those exact same spots, especially that one with the big fish in it?"
Yeah, I do my best to try not to get into too much history.
Yeah, that's good.
But whenever you're talking about a lake, I compare Bussey, it's a little bit bigger, but to like Cedar Creek.
Yeah.
Where a lot at home. Those fish use the same place because there's just not a lot of options for those fish. It's not a big lake. But eventually, you will have to fish some of the same stuff. And when you have like a pretty much featureless lake, and then there's a couple sections that are different, there's a reason they're there. Those fish are going to use that same type of stuff at some point. You just have to figure out how. I just don't want to get cornered into going like, oh, I got to go straight back to that same exact stretch that I caught them on last time. Because if you do that, more often than not, you're already kind of behind the 8 ball.
Yeah. Do you get in a scenario ever where, a familiar fishery where guys have caught big fish on, you got money on the line, and you have, maybe some other anglers trying to creep into some spots that are well known that you've already fished, or you've already been there, or you have some. I mean, when money's on line, people are competitive. Do you have some of that you got to fight back against?
Absolutely. So my favorite thing, which doesn't happen much in professional fishing anymore, but my favorite thing is to go to a place either that we haven't been to in a long, long time professionally on the professional level.
Yeah.
Or so like I remember when I fished the Elite Series, the Lake Oahe. We went there smallmouth fishing the first time there. Kind of the same deal with Bussey and Caney and all these places. When we go to these places for the first time, it's nearly 100% instinctual, and guys don't hold, waypoints, and they don't have all that other stuff. That's my favorite time. I love going to those places because what happens when we go to Bussey, if I make it back there again, there was a group of guys that either they watched the show or they were there fishing. Now what they saw me and other anglers that caught them did.
Yeah.
And these guys are so dang good, man. If you give them one little nugget, so when we go back the second time, it's a whole different ball game because everybody's starting out at a higher level of knowledge of these.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Jimmy Carroll, he's got a question here. What's up, Jimmy? He said, "What fishery do you look forward to? Does it possibly change for you every year?" I assume you're probably pretty excited for this tournament.
Yeah. Other than this one, though,
is there any other tournament you really look forward to every year?
Yeah, it's over the years. I used to circle on the calendar like, man, I'm gonna
yeah,
first tournament of the year. So I quit doing that a long time. I just for me, like I said, I love going to new places, which we've not been to Saginaw Bay at a professional level. That's one of the last tournaments of this year.
Yeah.
So I'm there. I know it's full of fish. I just enjoy going to kind of some of the new places. But any of these things can be good, man. It's just, for me, I love fishing. If I can fish my style when I go to a place, yeah, it's cool. But to say I have really a favorite lake anymore or anything, I don't know. Wherever they're biting.
Right. Yeah. What exactly? What would you consider your, I guess, your favorite way to fish your style?
If I could draw it up, it'd be flipping and pitching. I'm not saying that doesn't mean that I feel like I'm a Denny Brower or I'm like the best ever flipper. I'm not saying that at all. I just feel like if I'm catching them flipping and big ones are up where I can catch flipping, or if there's the right cover around, I feel like I'm in the game. I feel like I'm around doing what I need to do. So flipping for me has always been that way. If I can catch it flipping, I'm a happy guy. There's other ways I like to catch them too, but that's why Bussey was so cool for me last year, because there's not many places you can go in the country and catch big ones flipping, man. It's just it's a cool deal when you do it that way.
Oh yeah, I actually was. I'd never done any type of flipping before, and I started fishing some partner tournaments on Kentucky Lake with a buddy of mine. He fishes some of the BFLs and stuff. And one spring, the buckbrush there got super flooded, and the spawn was just starting. And he introduced me. He gave me a big heavy rod and said, "Hey man, just watch me and what I do." And I kept watching. Next thing I know, we were smacking them, just flipping. And I've been hooked on flipping ever since. I love flipping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, our buddy John Smith says, "Let them boys come to Harrington; they'll see what's up." John, we said before, if you can catch them on Harrington, man, you can catch them anywhere. Bradley's the king at Harrington. So
John, yeah, that's the problem. Like, I feel like I know Cumberland, but I don't know it as it's an hour from my house, like I do Harrington. And I'll joke out, great, but it's so small, nobody's ever going to come here, so it's pretty much useless.
Yeah. Chuck said he's still not figured Harrington out. So, well, listen, Brad, we'll let you go, man. I know you got to eat. Probably can do some last minute stuff for tomorrow, but we're all pulling for you. And last year you took home the check. This year, I hope it's even bigger. I hope you grab some of those big boys in there and reel them in. But we'll be watching and updating our pages and letting everybody know how it's going. So, thanks for being on here, man, and good luck to you.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it, brother.
Right. Thanks, guys. All right, Bradley Roy, man. That's I've been trying to get Bradley on a show for a couple of years.
Yeah.
It just so happened. I have sent him a text before and been like, "Hey, man, you want to come on?" And don't hear back. Wow. But he was very quick to get back to us today. I'm a little. I hate that our viewers have been like super low. I don't know. I'll tell you what it is. So let's just tell everybody, Josh has been working really hard on growing this Bass Fishing Live page. He's got it up to almost 800 followers. I'm happy with that based on where we started. It's only a couple, maybe 6 weeks old, something like that, maybe 2 months old.
No.
But Josh, so Josh did a video on how to tie a drop shot.
Yeah.
Which has been a little controversial because people are like, everybody knows how to do that, duh. Well, they don't. Somebody taught them how to do it, so they don't. But it's blown up, and usually, Josh, I've not told you this. Usually, when you have one big post that blows up, none of your other posts at that time do well. So maybe that's
about midway. It was kind of throwing me off because I can only share the live with Bass Fishing Live to certain groups. So I had to switch back over to my personal profile and share it. And then I'm thinking, well, did I share it to this group? Did I share it to this group? Yeah. So, but it's okay. But yeah, the drop shot video, if you've not seen it, actually, it wasn't even me rigging up a drop shot. It was just showing when I first learned to use a drop shot, it was probably 7-8 years ago, somewhere around there. And I never would feed the line through the eye of my hook and then tie the weight on.
And how did you learn about that?
Well, let me finish. I'm getting there. I'm going to mention it. I would tie my hook on, I'd tie my weight on, and I would go. Well, then John, one day we're fishing, he was like, "Have you ever put the line through the eye?"
Because your hook didn't look right.
Yeah. And he was like, it'll help your hook stay, north and south. So your hookup ratio is better. And then I was watching a video the other day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a video about, if I didn't know it, and I fish a lot, I fish 2, 3, 4 times a week, and I didn't know it, somebody doesn't know it. Well, we got almost 100,000 views on that video, and some people were like, that's part of one guy said, that's part of the knot. I'm like, no, it's not, dude. I'm like, come on now. Whatever.
No, it's a great way to fish. I do it every now and then. If you got good electronics, it's really you just drop it down under your boat.
Chuck, I appreciate that. He said, I'm 44 years old and just halfway learned how to fish a drop shot this year, so all the content is good. I appreciate that.
Hey, Chuck. That's okay. I went fishing with a good friend of mine. We were talking about this today. I went fishing with a good friend of mine, and I said, you know what I think would work well here? I said, I think I'm going to tie on a drop shot. He's like, yeah, I'll do that too. And I look, and so on a drop shot, you have your weight, and then you have you can go 12 to 18 inches, and you tie your hook on.
Yeah.
Your weight's there. You tie a little, float worm, whatever on. And I look, and he's got his weight above his hook. So it's more of a Carolina rig anyway. He's a good guy.
Hey, I was going to say, I know my man Scott Butler's in here.
Yeah, because he called me fat.
He got that Phoenix.
He got in that boat. I'm surprised he got out of it once he got in.
He got in it. Hey, Scott, we got to go fishing, man. And we got Tennessee Bassmaster in here tonight. He said, I will be working on techniques like the drop shot.
Because he got his first boat yesterday.
Hey, look at that. Him and Scott.
14 years old, got his first boat, Tennessee Bassmaster.
Congratulations, man.
We're happy for you, brother. We really are. Scott didn't say anything there. So, hey, listen, Bradley Roy, man, is one of the nicest guys.
He is.
He's one of the nicest. We've not had anybody on the show that's not a nice guy.
Yeah.
But he's just a genuinely nice guy. I'm just so glad he was.
I'm rooting for him, man.
I'll
tell you, if you haven't watched any Major League Fishing or you've never watched Bassmaster, starting Monday, when you wake up, when it hits about 8 or 9 o'clock, if you're at work or whatever, or you're just sitting at the house.
You shouldn't be sleeping to 9, let's just be honest.
MajorLeagueFishing.com. Go there. They've got it for free. You don't have to have any type of subscription or anything. You just go on there, you hit play, and it'll show the heavy hitters. If you want to get into watching it, I know that may sound weird, but Heavy Hitters is the tournament to watch.
Yeah, it's fun.
Dudes, it is so much fun to watch.
30 guys.
It's literally 3-pounder after 5-pounder after 7-pounder. All of a sudden, you get an 11-pounder. And you can really learn a lot from watching them on Heavy Hitters as well, man. So it's going to be an awesome tournament.
Yeah, and I really love Bassmaster. I really do. I love the guys there. We've been around Bassmaster anglers more than we have Major League Fishing anglers. But the Major League Fishing coverage is just the best.
It is.
Just the way, they have the best coverage there. I'm not saying they have the best anglers. I'm not saying they have the best events. The Bassmaster Classic is the event.
It is, and that's what
the Major League Fishing tournament.
It is by far the best event, the Classic. We've been to it 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
But Major League Fishing's regular tour events, the coverage of it is better than the Classic coverage.
Yeah.
It really is.
Eric says his wife pulled his arm tonight, made him get ice cream, missed out here in Bradley Roy. That's the best thing about this, Eric. You just go back and watch the replay.
That's true.
Simple as that.
That's true. We are missing a couple of
regulars
or regulars tonight. I was kind of
we didn't go live last week. Maybe that hurt us.
That could have. And I was trying to figure out at the beginning. I'm like, bro, we got 3 viewers for like 15 minutes. I'm like, what is going on right now?
Eddie says, do you feel like if a big tournament comes to a lake, the publicity will kill the lake? Here's what I feel like. I feel like you get that initial surge, right? But then I don't think long-term it has an effect. Social media has more of an effect than big tournaments. I remember the first year I went to Chickamauga, I knew how many 10-plus pound bass that had been caught there just through social media. And that's why I went there. And that's why a lot of people have gone there. So social media will really do it, but ultimately, we just got to do, like Bradley said, you just got to do a good job manage your fish. And that can go deep. That can go, should we take fish off bed and take them to the boat ramp during tournaments? That's a big argument. Should we be catching fish 40 feet deep and pulling them up? And, there's a lot. So, and it's not my argument to have. Like I told Bradley, I'm doing my part. I usually don't catch fish that are deeper than 8 feet. Yeah. And I usually just throw them right back. So.
I'm with you. Eddie, I will say this. When I was stationed at Fort Bragg, there was 2 lakes, Jordan Lake and Sharon Harris Lake. And amongst the locals, everyone knew that Sharon Harris was full of just monster bass. I remember one time I went out on my kayak, my first trip there, and I see a fish float, and I go up to it, and it was like an 8-pound largemouth just floating dead. And I was like, this is unreal. Well,
so you know what he did? He grabbed it and took a picture.
I did not. But the next year, Heavy Hitters, Major League Fishing, went to Sharon Harris and Jordan Lake the very next year. And everyone in North Carolina said, man, since they came, it killed it. But I've talked to some guys since then, and they've said the lake is pretty good now. So I think it kind of I can't remember if it was Mark Menendez was telling us or who, but they all kind of have their run. Like Kentucky Lake was down for a while now. It's going back up. From what I've heard, Chick has kind of went down some. Eventually, it's going to go back up. It's just in waves.
Chick's not down, I don't think. I think it's just hard.
Right.
But, we heard the other day, about a month ago, it took 31 pounds to win a tournament there. That's impressive. WO's right. Bassmaster shows 3.5 hours of fishing, then will not show the weigh-in. They do that, WO. They don't want you to know the weights during the tournament. And then unless it's the Classic, they don't really show the weigh-in. You can watch it online right there, but they have a deal with Fox Sports, where they show it for like 3.5 hours. Honestly, their website doesn't work all the time.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think I remember checking on the Bassmaster.com while we were at the Classic, and they wasn't showing weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Which was
weird. They don't. Well, today they show the Classic, they won't even show the weights. Like, I think the final day, they don't even want to show you that. We know for sure they weren't showing accurate weights because they wanted it to be close.
Yeah,
right. Chuck says 150, 200 boats will be at Bradley Roy's youth tournament at Lake Cumberland in October. I think I've been down there, not for that tournament, but at the same time it was going on once. And it's a wild, a lot of people there. And he says we should come down, interview some of the kids. Chuck, we love to do that. We love just to go out and fish right in the middle of them and then go talk to them. Yeah. Eddie's Thursday night class is over, so he'll be here every week. We appreciate it, Eddie. Bring your friends. Tell your NTBA pals.
Eddie, we got to go
Josh Haggerty, no, they don't.
He's talking about showing the weigh-ins.
Yeah. Here's what Tennessee Bassmaster says. I live on Chick, and the pre-spawn this year wasn't as good as normal because they took it to winter pool because some of the floods. Yeah, that will ruin it.
Yeah.
That will ruin it. Also, very rare to win it all on one bait. Yeah, but he did it. He did it. Gustafson did it.
What was it? The something Shad.
Well, you got the Schmeltenator, whatever jig. It's made by his friend in Canada. I'm guessing Canada. And you got the Z-Man jerk shad. And what's the color? Smelt, maybe it's smelt too.
It could be.
I said, heck, 21 pounds to win on Little Williamstown Lake 2 weeks ago.
Heck yeah.
That's
Eddie said, let's go to Dale night fishing. Eddie, I would love to, but I'll tell you this. I've never fished at night before when it comes to bass, so you probably have to teach me the ropes. But I would absolutely love to, Eddie. You let me know when, I'll make it happen.
Yep, jerk shad, Josh said. Yeah,
smelt color. You was right.
What's funny is Josh, not Josh Haggerty, but Josh and I. Why are our names not there? Oh, they are now. Yeah. So Josh and I were walking around the Classic Expo, and we're walking over to Z-Man. Josh is like, I just don't like, Z-Man's okay, Ned Rig. I just don't really like fishing with them that much. I don't think they get this and that. And then I'm like, or we go back and it's like, yeah, this guy's getting ready to win the Classic on the Z-Man jerk.
And you're right. But, dude, a lot of the pros do not use Z-Man products.
No, I think they use – so you got the jerk shad. I've also seen them use that razor shad as a trailer.
Yeah. But I think they don't get the recognition because earlier in the year, you've got all these dudes, they're fishing in the South for largemouth. So nobody's going to be throwing a Ned Rig and stuff. But when they go up north, it is going to be, your Ned Rigs and stuff like that, drop shots that they're going to probably be using. But then again, Hank Jerry told me once, if you're fishing up north and you're not fishing a Berkeley Power Break like flatworm or something, you're probably not going to win.
So. I was about to say that last year they sold out all the flatworms on St. Lawrence River and where else? I don't think it was St. Clair.
It was St. Lawrence and
somebody help us there. Eric, do you know? What do you think about Milliken's win on the Opens? I loved it. It because you know what? Kevin Van Dam is probably known as the GOAT of bass fishing, the greatest of all time, probably. Some people say Rick Clunn, who's done it for 50 years.
Which place last today? Major League or the Bassmaster.
Well, that's okay. He's won 4 classics.
He has. He's the
man. Some people say Kevin Van Dam. A lot of people say Kevin Van Dam is the best ever. But none of them have a following like Ben Milliken.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's in an Orkin commercial. Have you seen the Orkin commercial?
Mm-hmm.
Like the pest exterminator? He's in an Orkin commercial. Like, he has built a brand with his goofiness. I mean, not just bass fishing. He fishes spillways. He fishes all kinds of species. And he goes out there and he just dominates for 3 days. Like, it was an easy win. He dominated.
So I think a lot of people see him when you're looking at like probably local guys and guys that fish derbies and stuff. They probably look at him like, oh, it's this influencer on YouTube. And then he went out there and I think he placed 5th. And then he goes and wins. And it's like, oh, well, maybe this guy can fish a little bit.
He might be. I mean, right now he has to be in the lead for the Opens Angler of the Year.
He
5th
is.
at Eufaula, and then 1st here.
Yeah.
Tennessee Bassmaster must have had his phone out at school. He said, I actually jumped up in school and yelled, heck yeah, and got in trouble.
I hope you've seen that post from Bass Fishing Live's Facebook page when I posted it.
Yeah, Tennessee, make sure you're following us on Facebook, bro.
Yeah, go.
Man, Josh, that's why I'm struggling to enter these Tuesday and Thursday night tournaments here on Monroe. I've never fished bass at night.
Me either, man. I'm scared
of getting water. I'm pretty sure I have fished at night, but not on my boat. Yeah. My boat is I need to equip it to night fish because that's when you can catch some giants in the summer.
For sure. And I'm scared of navigating a big lake at night or during the day. Yeah. So I can only imagine at night. I remember Brian Boggs telling me once, like, dude, when you get out on
Brian Boggs, that's another good dude.
I think it was, he said on Cumberland. He's like, dude, when you get on Cumberland, it is pitch dark, dude. You got to be careful and know where you're going.
Well, last year there was a night tournament at Lake Malone and someone got killed. Was it last year? Got thrown. They hit a little island, got thrown from the boat. I think the woman got killed last year, the year before. I mean, it's terrible. And I am, I'm not a guy that gets out there in my boat and says, hey, let's see how fast this thing can go.
Right.
I mean, most of the guys in here are, but I'm not. Like,
well, I think
I'll get it to 40, 45, and I'm good with that. And even it took me a while to get to 45. At first, when I first bought it, I was like, "Woof."
Change the subject quickly because this is a fishing show. But Scott Butler does hate to ask or change subject, but Colin said somebody got shot at Kleber. When he says Kleber, if you're not familiar with that.
Surely Mike didn't post about it. I was trying to keep it under wraps until I could make it.
I might have texted it to him.
Mike,
but that's
I know Mike's not watching. Mike, that was a secret.
Yeah, Kleber WMA. We don't have the details yet. We're waiting.
Allegedly. I don't know if somebody got shot or not, but if we find out, we'll definitely let you know. All right, it is. He said, "Oh, he's right. It is black."
He said, "Oops, sorry. Hey, it ain't your fault, Scott."
No, Scott. I promised Scott. I was getting ready to say, Scott, did you hear about what happened at Kleber today? And just to see if you knew. I really was going to say that. Scott said he was fishing USA Bassins at night after dark. We idle only, yeah.
I fished 3 USA Bassin tournaments up at Kentucky Lake and one at Lake Bashir, and I got my butt kicked in all 4 of them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to change that, so let's go fish some tournaments.
I just want to point out on his drop shot video, I shared it on the Eastern Outdoors page, and I said, John taught Josh how to tie the drop shot knot. Now he's showing you. And then Josh replied with a jerk remark. I taught you how to go fishing. Totally untrue. But I did. I showed you how to do that.
No. I want to address this. I'm not going to address this as in I did not teach you everything about fishing.
But
2 things.
Really didn't teach you anything.
You would have probably never went fishing if I hadn't got you to go. Because
I can agree with that.
Because I drove from Harlan to Lexington and we went at Elkhorn. I brought a rod and reel and I taught you how to use a Texas rig. And you caught a smallmouth. And
I think it's a wacky word. But anyway, Here's what you're saying. You're
So
basically
it's not
you're
for
saying
me.
like
Ron wouldn't be where he's at today. I'm just
you're
saying.
saying okay. That's like saying my mom taught me how to play football because she gave me a football once, or because she took me to practice.
No, that's not
Yes,
even.
it is.
No, it's not.
I went
Guys,
with
come
you.
on.
What happened? We went down to the New River, and I did all my research myself, and now we fish completely differently. I am
I fished back then.
but
I fished Jordan Lake and Sharon Harris quite a bit, but I did not own a bait caster. I'd used only spinning rods. I used flukes. I used a couple drop shots. But John, he was kind of just dabbling into it and getting used to it, and he was using one of the Rebel craws, small little
we cross.
little bitty.
It's
little
a great
craw.
creek bait. A little.
And hey, I'll give it to him. He caught smallmouth.
When you get
He
back
caught
to fishing,
sunfish. He caught hog suckers. He caught everything. He caught more fish than all of them.
Let's get back. Everybody's talking about night fishing. We're just talking about.
Okay.
Chuck says, Chuck, I want to know what is the winning weight at Lake Reba at night. Because I've been to Lake Reba and caught 30 fish in a few hours, but not one of them was a keeper. I mean, I've caught a ton of fish there. I think maybe the biggest was maybe 1.5 pounds. But it's a fun Lake Reba is a fun kayak lake. Let's see. I've had my boat there before though. John says I do the same thing at night as I do during day. Maybe touch more top water if you can. Josh, it looked like Matt Robertson was using top water today.
I think he was using some top water, but I'm gonna find this real quick so I can read it to you. I guess this was when they were weighing in, and they were bringing his stuff in, and he made up a song about glide baits.
Okay, I'm going to read WO's thing while you're doing that. WO said, I fished a lot at night. I fished at night a lot. Not much different than day. I do like to throw a big spinner bait with a big Colorado blade or big worm. And yes, it was last year. The lady was killed on Malone, and I heard they had fished Malone a lot and knew the island was there. You just never know. And that's actually what I heard too. They were regulars on Malone. But man, and if you're driving your boat, I don't know how fast they were going, but they had to be going decently fast to be ejected from it. And you just take your eye off something, or you can't see something, and it just happens so quickly. And I don't think they were wearing life jackets. And so I don't start my boat up without my life jacket on, because I don't want that to happen to me. I don't trust myself to not make a mistake, so I have to wear my life jacket. Do you guys, I know a lot of guys that'll plop down there without putting theirs on. Are all of you life jacket wearers when you are driving your boat? Bassmaster said he follows on Instagram. Bassmaster, that's wonderful. Our Instagram is not very good. Follow us on Facebook, Eastern Outdoors Media, Bass Fishing Live. If you have a Facebook, maybe you're too young, Bassmaster. Maybe your parents.
We need to make it Bass Fishing Live Instagram.
Yeah, go for it.
So
I don't know. I can't make one because I'm locked out of my Instagram. I can post. I can look at pictures.
I'll make one then.
But I can't log in. I don't know the password.
I gotcha. Matt Roberts.
Chuck Ayers is going on till September here in Conroe. Let me know how you do. Go ahead, Josh.
So Matt was talking to him today. So kind of the same way as the Classic. He's using big baits, throwing big baits in this tournament.
He does, yeah.
And he ended up culling right at the last minute. He caught a 6-pounder with a glide bait, and they were asking him about it. He said, if he is fishing with big swim baits, I like big baits, and I cannot lie. You other anglers can't deny. When a bass face and it eats that big glide in her face, you'll think you got hung. Make me want to wit you and take your picture. All right, weigh-ins are starting. I gotta go.
You're making this a little awkward.
Hey, dude, he is a funny dude, man.
Yeah, he is. Hey, yeah, Scott, they are very expensive. I ended up buying me a what do you call the ones that it's not like a full life jacket. It goes around, and if you hit the water, it expands. What's that called?
I just called it a PDF.
Yeah, PDF. No, PFD. PDF is Adobe file on your computer.
Close enough. I was
PFD, personal flotation device. So I bought one of those a few years back. That's what I use. I have like 3 backups for anybody that's in my boat. Excuse me. Chuck, they catch 3 and 4 pounders at Reba. Man, that's wild.
Talking about PFDs, I remember when you bought yours, and I had heard, and John can vouch for me here. I'm a very paranoid person.
Very.
So I heard a story about the ones that inflate, that sometimes they will not inflate.
It can happen.
I'm such a paranoid person. I can't swim, so I will only buy a regular life jacket.
Swim. He can swim.
Not very good. Not very good. If I'm in the middle of a lake, I'm drowning. It's gonna happen.
That's not funny, but I think you can give yourself a little more credit.
It's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have a life jacket that is already, when I hit the water, my big 230-pound butt's going to the top.
Hey, listen, I got flipped out of my kayak once, and I hit the water, no life jacket on. And see, for the people who kayak and they say they just leave the life jacket in the kayak, they're like, oh, I got it right here. Doesn't work. I flipped out, no life jacket on. Wake was just hit me in the face. I was trying to grab my kayak, and finally I grabbed it with one arm, swam to the shore with the other arm. My paddle was missing. My tackle was missing.
I was
just glad to be alive. It was October. It ended my day. It was at Clear Creek, not Cedar Creek. Ended my day. But if I'd been out in the middle, man, I don't know. It would have been tough. There's no way I could have swam to shore. I would have been like waving, holding onto the kayak, waving for somebody to come help me.
Yeah.
So I wear it now.
I'm with you, Eddie. Eddie said you get what you pay for. It's something my dad,
absolutely.
He always said you get what you pay for. How much is your life worth? I agree. That's why I always buy one that is already ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I've got them that are ready to go. I've got them that inflate.
Yeah.
I've got 3 or 4 now that fit. So
I want to talk about one other thing. So
hold on. A guy showed you a 5-pounder at Lake Reba. It's like 100-acre lake, Josh. It's like the lakes you fish. Wow.
Oh, okay.
Now I will say this. I've been there in the summer before, and there's on my kayak, and there's so much freaking grass where you just want to go home.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the good grass. It looks like pine trees. I don't know. I'm not good on my vegetation here.
Those small lakes. I got 2 here in Hopkinsville. I've caught so many 5-pounders I couldn't tell you how many, but my personal best on one of the lakes was 8 pounds and something ounces. My wife's is 7 something. So these 2 lakes are full of huge.
Josh, you got a question. I got a question, but first I got to see. I high centered a kayak once at Cedar Creek. Bad feeling. Took me a few minutes to get off the stump. Explain what you mean, Chuck. Does that mean you got it stuck? Because I did that the very first time I ever took my kayak out was at Cedar Creek. I got it stuck on a stick up. It took me 30 minutes to get off there. I was 1 minute away from jumping in the water and having to hoist the kayak off. Is that what you meant? Because I've done that, and it is.
I would say so. And that when you first
it sucks, and it's scary because you're like, what am I going to do?
When you get in a kayak, and I've fished in a kayak so much now.
It's funny now.
I've got so many trips in a kayak. I'm very comfortable in one. And my kayak is super light compared to like John's. Feel free.
Mine's 100 pounds.
I'll tell you, when you get on a stump, it happens to me all the time. Just paddle. Just paddle and scoot.
This one didn't work because there was 2 stick ups, one in the middle of my kayak, and the reason I was trying to paddle, but this is the first time I ever had it out. Didn't know what I was doing. The other, I have the wheel on the back of my kayak. The other was in between the wheel. So what I had to do is paddle backwards.
I got you.
And I had to do it backwards.
I like that about your kayak is the wheel. Yeah. I like that a lot. What I was going to bring up a while ago was it hit about 7 o'clock earlier, and I knew we was going live in about an hour. and Keith Poche, which was on our show about a month ago, maybe a little longer. I seen
Good
him
evening,
pop
Joshua.
up. He popped up on Facebook, and I'd never watched the Off the Grid stuff. And I went and watched it. Dude, the stuff he is doing in that Gator Tracks is
Hey, I have to stop you right here.
Another level, dude.
I have to stop you right here. Joshua Boone Sweet is here. First of all, Joshua, I don't think I've ever called him Joshua, but Josh, you look great in your picture. Nice suit. You look good. Secondly, if you've been out to the place that we like to hunt, where I've never hunted, but you like to hunt in a remote area somewhere in Kentucky, we'll just say that. If you go back, will you see if my cell camera's there? Because if the batteries are dead, it very well could have been stolen by now. I've just not went back to get it. I have to be in Georgetown tomorrow for an inspection. I thought I might take my boots and go out that way. But if you're out there before I am, will you just grab it for me? Because I'm really afraid it's not going to be there when I go back. So
Scott
anyway,
Butler said this is the nicest boat he's ever had. Scott, I'm happy for you, man. We've been talking about this for a while. I'm glad you finally got one, man. I really am.
Scott's like a fat kid eating cake, man. He is so
happy.
Ha, we'll do.
Well,
Thanks,
he told
Josh.
me,
I appreciate it.
He texted me earlier today and said he actually left me like a voice message, and he was wondering about the chips for the fish finders, and he said that it has been scheduled for like 5 days. No, not Navionics. Lake Master.
Oh, okay, that Humminbird.
Yeah, but I was talking to, and he said that he has been planned for getting his boat today for several days, and they called him and was like, "Hey, can you come get it now?" And he was like, "Look, man, 3:30 is the time, and somebody's doing my paperwork."
That's
well, sounds like it worked out for you, Scott.
Can we? Oh man, come on, Keith. Hold on, I want to share this. Hold on a second. So here's what Josh is talking about. I'm going to share this, and then we'll let everybody go. I'll be that way Sunday morning. I might be out there tomorrow. Josh, I've got a inspection. I sold a condo in Georgetown. Very happy about that. And I got to go for an inspection tomorrow. So I might stop by if I got time. But if I don't, I would appreciate you looking. And if you can, I understand. I want to show this, though. This is Keith Poche. Okay. Can you see that, Josh?
Yep.
That is a concrete dam.
That's what I seen.
That is concrete, and he's in that aluminum Gator Tracks, and he's just hitting it.
And listen, guys, this isn't like a one-time deal. He does this every week, different locations. He'll be in like a foot of water, and you just see mud flying. He's running over trees. He is doing, dude, those boats are amazing.
Well, and it won him. The place that he won on Cherokee, was it Cherokee?
Yep.
The place he won on Cherokee, I heard him talking about it, and he said he was the only boat that could get back in there. He was the only boat that could get back in there that far, and he won $100,000.
Yeah.
Scott said, I felt bad after I got there, and the sales rep wife had a doctor's. He didn't say doctor's.
He didn't. He said. I read the same thing.
Yeah, he meant. Scott.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah, I guess she is pregnant.
Doc, oh my God. Oh, that was awesome. I love it.
She had some kind of appointment, and now she's pregnant. That's all I know. Or call she's pregnant. I don't know.
Oh, I'm crying. That one made me laugh.
Oh, Scott. So
I know
anyway,
he's laughing there right now, too.
Listen, Bradley Roy was on here. If you didn't get to see him, go back, check it out. One of Kentucky's. I mean, right now, I guess you'd say him and Matt Robertson are at the top of Kentucky professional fishermen.
Oh, yeah.
As far as how well they're doing. But now we love them all. Mike Huff, great guy. Mark Menendez is a all-time pro. Who are we missing? I think that's the only one on the two big tours. So
I can't remember. I did say Mike. I watched him weigh in today, and I'd mentioned Rick. I was going to mention this earlier. Rick Clun had weighed in, and he had only had 2 fish. I mean, he's getting up there too. So he's just to be out there. Yeah, Rick Clun.
Yeah. What did Mike have?
One of the best ever. I think he had 12 pounds, 14 pounds.
Okay. Respectable.
And he went right after Rick, and Rick was saying, that he was like, "Hey, man, I can't see as good as I used to. And I've been thinking about it. We should get caddies like golfers, and they can tell us what to use. They can see for us. They won't catch the fish." And then Mike Huff came on, and old Dave Mercer asked him. He said, "Do you think we should give Rick Clun a caddy?" And Mike said, "You should give Rick Clun whatever he wants."
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you give Rick whatever. 76 years old, man.
Yeah, so
Like I'm
that's
highly,
impressive.
there's a really good chance that I don't even see that age. You're definitely
I
not going to see
definitely
that age.
will not see that age.
No, based on Josh's medical history and family history, he is not.
60
He'll be lucky
max.
to hit 60. But I'm thinking I probably won't see that age, and he's fishing at that age. So, yeah. Scott, I thought the same thing, but I wasn't even going to say it because it's just off the rails. But anyway, hey, check Bradley and them. They start Monday, you said?
They start Monday, yeah, the 24th.
Okay, so he's practicing and he's doing some things. So anyway, check out Matt Robertson tomorrow. Josh will be posting about it.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
listen, we're trying to grow this page. We're at about 800. We want 800,000. We'll take 80,000. We want this to be as big as Eastern Outdoors, which is very close to 65,000 followers.
Hey, I'll tell you this, though. We were at 743 when we started the show. We are now at 821. So
it's moving, but it'll move faster if you guys help us out, share the stuff. And hey, we didn't have many viewers on here, but we love the ones we did have tonight. So thank you so much.
We love you guys.
Even Scott Butler. Butler on here with his dirty talk. So hey, listen, we appreciate you. We'll be back Tuesday night. We didn't ask Bradley about killing a turkey. If you catch a big fish or you kill a turkey this weekend, we want to see it. Send it to us. If it's good enough, we might post it. We got to be choosy. So thanks for being here. Tell your friends, tell your family. Bass Fishing Live. We're trying to make it the best bass fishing live podcast in the world. We got a ways to go, but we'll get there. Josh, thank you for all your work, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Have a good one.